Hey, hello, friends. Jim Gray Wolf here. I'm here with my good friend, Christopher Wesselingh. I always get that wrong. I think I got it right this time. Chris is down in New Zealand. Chris is a renowned nature photographer. He can talk to the earth better than anyone I know. He's a healer, and I'll let him talk. I'm curious why he has decided to fly halfway around the world to come up to our rapidly approaching event, Waves of Wisdom. Chris, you're on.
Cool, thanks, Jim, and a pleasure to touch base and meet you again. What's drawn me up? This is probably the first gathering that I've ever been invited to that's felt aligned with what I call our sense of connection and talking about coming from that place. One of the things I learned earlier on in my journey is when we disconnected from nature, we essentially disconnected from ourselves. Since then, we've been searching for happiness, connection, vitality, life. We have illnesses because we're not in that natural life flow that is provided by a healthy environment, by healthy connection. And that connection starts within ourselves. We can't connect to nature and our environment if we're not connected within ourselves. It's sort of like putting a plug in the wall that hasn't been wired up. You're going to have a plug in the wall, but there's nothing flowing from it. So we learn the process of connection and the order of connection within ourselves, and then from the self that is connected to the connection we have naturally with the world. And it's not like we've got to create it because it's already there. We live in it. We live in the earth's atmosphere. We live in her air. We breathe her. We drink her. We eat her food and her nourishment. When we finish with it in our body, it goes back to the earth. There is nothing we're separate from. And the disconnection is where we forgot this. Because before the disconnection, we just naturally recognize this flow that exists in everything. We were a part of it. We lived it. We breathed it. We drank it.
Mm-hmm.
We still do. We just forgot it. So it's coming back to that natural inherent both memory, which is an aspect of consciousness. It is not a thinking brain activity. The fact we became so invested in thinking brain is where we began the world of separation. Those who live in feelings and connection tend to operate more from feelings. Those who operate in time tend to operate more from thinking, which is the process of separation. I can go into this deeper for those who are interested, but we'll look at that during the event. There's exercises and various things I offer to introduce people to the sense of connection. I take people on walks in forests and nature, and we learn to both connect with it through feelings, through instincts, through intuition, through breath, and just the
That's
feeling of
that's a
presence.
really that's a really strong point right there. So Chris, as you can hear, cares enough to come halfway around the world, which is not cheap, to be here with us. And we have a lot of other elders coming. And we're going to have some of the traditional stuff. We're going to have indigenous dancers, singers, flute players. We're going to have a drum circle, on and on and on, because this has to be fun too. But the real stars of this event are going to be Chris and people like him. This is for the elders to step up and do exactly what he said. We're going to allow lots of time to go out in nature with an elder or two and connect with the earth. And then when we all sit together, we'll see what comes to us. That's what this is all about. It's Waves of Wisdom. It's in Sedona, Arizona, the most sacred spot in the Americas. It's been that for years, one of the most sacred spots on the planet. So make some plans. Be here with us, September 9 and 10, right here in Sedona. If you go online, you will find our event page on Facebook. Pretty soon we'll have links up to pay. And let's talk about that just for a minute, Chris, because it's important. And Chris and I have talked about this quite a bit as we were planning this, along with a lot of other people who were involved. We were going to have a longer event and it was getting quite expensive. And we realized that's not the way. We need to get out there and listen to the earth and then start doing what she tells us. So the 2 days is just $111. That's it, which is enough to hopefully at least cover expenses. However, We're gonna set up a separate button on the page, I hope. I don't know how to do this, but we have people who do. That's donations. If you can pay more, please do so. If you can do a second $111, please do so. All those other monies, and anything above expenses is going into a pot so we can bring elders to these gatherings, because this is only the first of many, but to help them get here because they just don't have a way. A lot of them don't have much funds at all. Sometimes we can help them personally, but if we start to have a fund to help Indigenous people get to these things, this is the time. Yes, we can do these things on Zoom, but we need to be also face to face. I've known Chris now for a number of years. I haven't met him yet, except online. So the power and the energy will increase, I think. What do you think, Chris?
To me, whenever you get collected consciousness together, like when I meditate on my own, it's the meditation of one. If I bring a second person into the space, it's like the energy of three individuals.
Right.
When I have three of us together meditating, I find it builds exponentially, and it's like the meditation of nine. It just builds and adds to each other very quickly, and it becomes a self-sustaining circle or wheel of life. And to me, this is the thing that's so powerful about connection. It's more than just the individual selves. It's a collective energy, which is more than self, greater than self.
Good. So again, Waves of Wisdom, September 9th and 10th, Sedona, Arizona. Get here, find a way. We have other people coming quite a distance as well. We have some coming from Europe. It's just drawing people. Come and join us. If you think it's time to come together and make a real difference, that's what we intend to do in these 2 days. We want you. We'll see you. Thanks for hearing us, Chris. Thank you, as always, for being the amazing person you are.
Thank you.